Peace and love. Welcome back to the Hope, HOPE, helping our people elevate. And if this is your first time here, welcome to the channel, where we uncover the real history that's often left out of the books. If you're passionate about learning and elevating our people through knowledge, make sure you hit that button, subscribe, and turn your notification bell on so you don't miss a video. Now, today's topic is one that's both powerful and necessary. Throughout history, there were individuals who stepped into spaces they were never meant to be in. At least that's what society told them. The schools, jobs, government, entertainment, and more, these pioneers walked through the doors that were once shut, facing threats, hatred, and unimaginable obstacles. But despite the odds, they stood tall. They didn't just break barriers, they paved the way for generations to come, including us. This is their story, their struggle, their victories, and today, we're giving them the recognition they deserve. So let's get into it. Peace and love, family.
On behalf of Akuno Sanko for Bay, you know what I'm saying? Jay, where you at? We're trying to help our people elevate. Hope, HOPE. We're giving them hope. We doing what we gotta do, you know. Every day, one step at a time, man. We're gonna make it happen. Helping our people elevate. Yeah. Sometimes I practice focus, thought, and meditate. I'm trying to come with other ways to help our people elevate. And seeking knowledge make me levitate. The lifted mental state is what results from how we orchestrate. This for the family's sake. Let's self-reflect and self-evaluate. And every day, make sure the steps you take, you calculate. Receive a master's fate. I know I can't exist without the hate, but that's okay. I balance that with higher self today. Success is on this way, and after that, my flesh can pass away.
The first Black people to integrate schools, jobs, and more. Throughout history, countless Black pioneers have broken barriers in education, employment, government, military, entertainment, sports, and beyond. These are the stories of the first Black individuals who integrated spaces once denied to them, stories that are often left out of our history books. Today, we're going to highlight their struggle, achievements, and lasting impact on American society. Let's get into it. When we talk education,
Ruby, don't look. Hold it, guys. No, Ruby, come back, sweetie.
Ruby Bridges of 1960, she was the first Black child to integrate an all-white elementary school in the South. Ruby Bridges was just 6 years old when she made history on November 14, 1960. She became the first Black child to attend William Frantz Elementary School in New Orleans, Louisiana, after the federal government ordered school desegregation. On her first day, U.S. Marshals had to escort her past an angry mob of white protesters, grown men and women shouting slurs, threw objects, and even threatened her life. White parents pulled their children out of the school, and teachers refused to teach her, except for one, Barbara Henry, a white teacher from Boston, who taught Ruby alone for an entire year. But despite the isolation and harassment, Ruby never missed a day of school. Her courage symbolized the fight for educational equality and paved the way for future generations. The Little Rock 9 of 1957, the high school desegregation under military protection. Just 3 years before Ruby Bridges, 9 Black students attempted to integrate Little Rock Central High School in Arkansas. These students, known as the Little Rock 9, faced extreme violence and resistance. Arkansas's Governor Orville Faubus ordered the National Guards to block their entrance, defying the federal order for desegregation. President Eisenhower had to send the 101st Airborne Division to escort the students into the school. Even with military protection, they endured daily harassment, spits, racial slurs, physical attacks, and threats. One of the students, Minnie Jean Brown, she was expelled after retaliating against a white student who harassed her. Their bravery forced the country to confront the reality of segregation and sparked future civil rights activism.
And when we appeared at Central the first day,
sealed off.
The National Guard was there to bar our entrance and let white students go into the school. What it was like, it was rejection that I had never experienced like that. It seemed to me that if they were going to all of this trouble to keep me out, there was something bigger than my simply going to class. Only when we got home from school that day did we realize what an ordeal, personal ordeal, Elizabeth had gone through, and that she certainly faced more of the mob directly. I always applaud the fact that she was able to keep both her composure and try to figure out how to get out of that. We started school on the 25th of September.
You had Lucille Bluford of 1940s. Lucille Bluford, a journalist, applied multiple times to the University of Missouri School for Journalism between 1939 and 1941. Each time, she was denied solely because of her race. After years of legal battles, the school finally agreed to admit her, but instead, they shut down the program to avoid integration. And although she had never got to attend, her persistence led to legal victories that helped end segregation in higher education, where she later became the editor of the Kansas City Call, using her platform to fight racial injustice. When we talk about employment, we talk Robert C. Weaver of 1966, the first black cabinet member. Robert C. Weaver was a Harvard-educated economist and Civil War advocate. In 1966, President Lyndon Johnson appointed him as the first black Secretary of Housing and Urban Development. He put him over HUD, making him the first black person to serve in the U.S. presidential cabinet. But before this, he had spent decades advocating for fair housing policies and equal economic opportunities for black Americans, where his leadership helped shape policies that provided housing assistance to low-income families and challenged racial discrimination in housing.
Adam C.J. Walker was born Sarah Breedlove in 1867 on a plantation in Delta, Louisiana, where her parents had been slaves before the Civil War. And her early life was really bleak. By the time she was 7 years old, both parents had died. She got married at 14, she said, to get a home of her own because she was being abused by a cruel brother-in-law, as she described him. She became a mother at 17 and a widow at 20. Necessity is always the mother of invention, and Madam C.J. Walker was losing her hair. There was no big line of hair care products for black women or white women at the time. People usually used home remedies.
I mentioned her in the last video, Sister Madam C.J. Walker, in the early 1900s. She was born Sarah Breedlove in 1867, but Madam C.J. Walker was the daughter of formerly enslaved parents. She built a hair care empire catering for black women's needs at a time when few products were made for them. Starting with just $1.25, she created a hair-growing formula that changed black hair care. She also trained thousands of black women as sales agents, giving them financial independence, where her wealth allowed her to support civil rights organizations and black colleges, proving that business success could also be used for activism.
She eventually came up with her own formula, and the real secret was not the product itself, but it was washing her hair more often and applying an ointment that contained sulfur. And this was really pretty revolutionary at the time. You think about it, there was no penicillin, there was no aspirin. Skin care, scalp care was something that was really neglected. People didn't bathe very often. They washed their hair even less often, sometimes not at all during the winter. And as a result, a lot of people were going bald. They had really horrible scalp disease. Sarah Breedlove, who later became Madam C.J. Walker, was one of those women. And by developing this system, essentially, her scalp became healthy. Her hair began to grow back. She developed a hair care product line, and then she trained thousands of other women who began to buy and sell her products. And by the time she moved to Harlem in 1916, she was one of the wealthiest and most successful African-American entrepreneurs in the country.
Bessie Coleman of 1921. Bessie Coleman dreamed of flying, but no American flight school would accept her because she was both black and a woman. She moved to France, learned French, and became the first black woman to earn an international pilot's license in 1921. When she returned to the U.S., she became a stunt pilot, performing daring aerial tricks to inspire black youth. She refused to perform for segregated audiences, pushing for racial unity even in aviation. And when we deal with government and law, we have to talk about Hiram Revels of 1870, the first black U.S. Senate. Just 5 years after slavery was abolished, Hiram Revels became the first black senator in the U.S. history. He took the seat once held by Jefferson Davis, the former president of the Confederacy, and while serving, he fought for racial equality and opposed laws that would limit black rights. Jane Bolin of 1939, the first black female judge. Jane Bolin became the first black woman to serve as a judge in the United States in 1939. She served on the New York Family Court for 40 years, ruling on cases involving children and families. She also fought against discrimination in foster care and juvenile justice systems. Our military. Henry Flipper of 1877, the first black graduate of West Point. Henry Flipper overcame extreme racism to become the first black graduate of the United States Military Academy at West Point in 1877. He became an officer in the Buffalo Soldiers, but faced false accusations and was dishonorably discharged. Decades later, he was pardoned, restoring his honor. Entertainment and media. Hattie McDaniel of 1940, the first black person to win an Oscar. In 1940, Hattie McDaniel won an Academy Award for her role as the Mammy in Gone in the Wind. She faced backlash from both Hollywood and the black community. Some saw the role as reinforcing stereotypes. Even at the Oscars, she was forced to sit at a segregated table away from the white actors. But despite this, she used her platform to open doors for future black actors. Jackie Robinson in 1947, the first black Major League Baseball player. Jackie Robinson broke Major League Baseball color barriers when he debuted for the Brooklyn Dodgers in 1947, where he faced constant racial slurs, hate mail, and threats but played with dignity. His success led to the full integration of professional sports. These pioneers endured unimaginable challenges to integrate schools, workplaces, politics, entertainment, and sports. Their sacrifices paved the way for the future generations. It's up to us to continue sharing their stories and keeping their legacies alive. If you found this video informative, make sure you like, comment, and subscribe for more. Peace and love.